All right, so let's go ahead and get right into it. This is not a comfortable video, but I feel that it's a necessary one because I've been watching what's been happening in the United States. I'm talking really watching. And it hit a point where I just could not continue scrolling anymore, shake my head and move on as if this is normal. Because what I'm seeing is not normal, it's not freedom. And in my mind, I don't think it's gonna get any better. It's embarrassing. Sometimes it makes me angry. But most of all, I am really, really deeply concerned as to what's happening in my country. And I'm saying this as an American. We are watching federal agents being deployed in the streets of America. We're watching people be questioned, detained, and sometimes killed under disguise of law and order. And you know what really shook me? 2 American citizens killed in broad daylight. Alex Pretty and Renee Good. Instead of accountability, instead of empathy, instead of reflection, all we got were labels, justifications, and excuses. They were painted as threats, agitators, domestic terrorists. And when I heard this, that's when I realized that this shit has gone too far. So let me say something that needs to be said, and it's probably gonna make some people uncomfortable. But first I wanna say this. For those who are thinking or gonna write in the comments telling me I should not talk about this and stick to DR, kiss my ass. This is my channel, I'm gonna talk about what the fuck I wanna talk about. If you don't like it, unsubscribe, go somewhere else, I don't give a shit. All right, so now we got that out the way. Historically, this type of violence, justified, public, state-sanctioned violence has usually overwhelmingly happened to Black Americans. Black people have been killed on the streets by police, authorities, on camera, and we were told that it was justified, that they shouldn't have resisted, or that they matched the description. Or my favorite one, they posed a threat because they were Black. This has been going on for generations. And now we're watching the same justifications being used when white Americans are being killed in broad daylight. And when that happens, when the machine no longer needs race to justify violence, when it becomes normalized across the board, everybody should be alarmed. This is not about white. This is not about Black. This is not about Democrat or Republican. None of that bullshit. This is about being human. I'm a human being. And what I see with my eyes is not right as a human being. Not as a Black man, not as a male, but as a human being. Because if we can explain it away for anyone, then it can happen to everyone. And that in itself should terrify you. Because ask yourself this, if you live in a country where you're afraid to die for exercising your rights, is that really freedom? We were taught freedom of speech matters. The right to assemble matters, and that the Constitution protects us from government overreach. But tell me this, if pulling out your phone, documenting what's happening can get you shot, if standing in your own neighborhood protecting your community can get you killed, if existing in the wrong place at the wrong time makes you a target, then what are your rights really worth? Rights that only exist when they're convenient are not rights. They're called privileges. And guess what? Privileges can be revoked. And here's where the hypocrisy comes in that you cannot ignore. In 2020, Kyle Rittenhouse came across state lines holding an AR-15 to attend a protest. 2 people were killed and another person was shot by him. Yes, he was acquitted in court. But beyond that, guess what? He was celebrated. He was called a patriot. He was called a hero, defended by politicians, lifted up as a symbol of order. Now let's contrast that with Renee Good and Alex Petty. Renee Good was unarmed. Yeah, Alex Petty, he was armed, but he had the right to carry his weapon. They're standing up in their own neighborhood, documenting what's happening, trying to protect their community, and all of a sudden, they are threats. But then you got one person walking through a protest, branding his firearm, and he becomes a symbol of freedom. How does this make sense? But I'll tell you this, that double standard is not accidental, and it should scare all of us. And listen, this is not abstract. This really affects how people live. You start thinking twice before you speak. before you record, before you show up. You start calculating risk just to exist. And that's the whole point. Is to govern by fear, to make sure you don't do any of these things. So that low-level anxiety, guess what? It becomes your baseline. And that is not how humans are supposed to live. And here's the part that most people don't get told. You have options. America is not the only place on earth where you can live a good life. And the idea that you must stay no matter how unsafe or how unstable you feel, that's not patriotism, that's conditioning. That's why you hear people say that when people move abroad that they're running. Nobody's running. You're conditioned to stay. Millions of Americans already live outside of the United States. Families, remote workers, nurses, teachers, entrepreneurs, retirees. There are many people that are currently living out of the United States. Those people decided that their nervous system mattered, that their safety mattered, their quality of life mattered. And please, guys, get this through your mind. Leaving America doesn't mean you stop being American. That is just ridiculous. You can live abroad and still vote. I do. You can live abroad and still earn U.S. income. I do. You can live abroad and still return whenever you want. I do. This is not running away. This is choosing an environment that doesn't feel hostile towards your existence. I live in Dominican Republic right now, and let me tell you what changed. My body relaxed, my mind slowed down, and that constant being on edge, it disappeared. I'm not waking up every day bracing for the news. I'm not watching the government test how much power it can exert over its citizens. I'm not constantly preparing for the next escalation like what's happening in the United States. When what's happening in Minnesota is over, it's gonna pop up somewhere else. Life here feels human again. Is it perfect? Hell no. Is it peaceful? Fuck yeah. And that matters. I'm not telling you to pack up and leave tomorrow. You don't have to be that dramatic, but you can start small, but start. I'm not telling you to move to Dominican Republic either. There are many countries around the world that you can move to. Pick one that aligns with your personality, your needs, and what you envision for your life. Research those countries that align with your values. Take a trip there. If you can, stay for a few months. See how you like it. Learn to build income that can travel with you. Talk to people who have already done it. These are the ways that you can start on that journey. This is not a fantasy. This is not just for rich people. People are leaving the U.S. every single day. But you know the biggest thing that's keeping people stuck? It's not the money. It's not the visa. It's the fear of the unknown. But if you already feel unsafe, if you already feel anxious, if you already feel like your rights are conditional, what are you actually protecting by staying? You are allowed to want peace. You're allowed to want safety. You're allowed to want a life where freedom feels real and not theoretical. When people say the United States is the freest country in the world, that's a damn lie. If you go to other countries and you live there, you'll realize how unfree that you really are in the United States. Trust me. And just because you leave your country doesn't mean you hate the country. Sometimes it means you just love yourself. You love your family, and you're choosing better. And that's why I call this video Get Out. Not get out by panic, not get out by hate, but get out by clarity. Your life is worth more than fear. Your future deserves more than chaos. And you do not need permission to choose for a better quality of life. And I want you to understand this. I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm not trying to tell you that the sky's falling. But they don't want you to believe your lying eyes. They want to dictate our perception of reality. If they can shape your perception of reality, then controlling your behavior becomes much easier. This stuff is textbook, man. And the way they handled those killings in Minnesota shows me that they're hell-bent on controlling our perception of reality. So I'm here to tell you something way more empowering. You have choices. You don't have to live in fear. You don't have to normalize chaos. You don't have to wait around hoping things will magically fix itself. You can design your life on purpose. I did it, and many others have done it before me and after me. So if something in your gut is telling you you need a different life, don't just sit with it. Do something about it. Start with information. I put together a free DR cost of living calculator so you can actually see what your money looks like outside of the United States. Because most people are shocked when they realize how far their money stretches in other countries. So if you're interested in that calculator, click the link below. If you're thinking bigger, like relocating or investing in a property here, I work closely with my realtor, Milta, and we help people every week understand neighborhoods, pricing, and how to buy safely as a foreigner here in Dominican Republic. So if real estate investing is on your mind, click that link in the video description that says, I want to invest in real estate, and we will be in touch. And lastly, if you want to talk about living abroad, money, self-development, join my free weekly newsletter, Live Your Best Life. That's where I share things that I don't normally put on YouTube. So guys, this is no hype, no fantasy, just truth. Because at the end of the day, my goal is simple. I want you to build a life that you no longer need a vacation from. A life where you feel safe, free, and at peace. And if that life isn't currently where you are now, then maybe you just need to get out. So until the end, guys, always remember, keep your goals at the forefront of your mind. Always live in the present, because that's the only way you're gonna live your best life. And I'm out. Peace.
Je begon aan mijn best life, yeah. Je begon aan mijn best life, yeah. Something you and me, oh. Je begon aan mijn best life, yeah. Jumping, flexing, no, no.